Did you know there's only 4 things you have to do to have effective communication between your husband and your wife? That's what we're talking about on today's video.
You want to do that again and
Sure.
give me a few extra seconds of lead time?
I like that I like that surprised look on your face.
It's like, dude,
What's
we
going
haven't
on?
even started. Give me a chance to get ready.
You try it.
Did you know that there are only 4 things that you have to be able to master in order to have effective communication with your husband or your wife?
That's what we're talking about on today's video. Everyone wants to have effective communication with their wife or their husband, and there's so many jokes about crappy communication between spouses.
Right.
In reality, there's only 4 things you have to master to be able to have awesome communication. And when you have really good communication, you stop fighting, you stop bickering, you get off the conflict cycle, you get onto the connection cycle. We want to tell you what those 4 things are because they're really not that tricky. The first one is being congruent. Your verbal and your non-verbal line up. A lot of people think that the words that you say is most important, but the truth is 93% of all communication, the meaning that you have, is communicated non-verbally. You will do massive damage when the words you are saying and your body posture or your tone or your timing is all messed up. You're going to send confusing
Mixed messages. It makes it like, I don't believe what he's telling me.
There you go. I don't believe you. And it creates defensiveness. It creates confusion. And when you confuse, you will never, ever get on the same page with your husband or your wife. So if you're sitting there and you're going, yes, I'm listening to you, what? Can you hear the mixed messages in there? The tone, the posture is shouting, I don't care, I'm not listening.
I laugh because it's kind of funny as you over-exaggerate that, but it really isn't funny when you're in the middle of a fight and that's what's actually going on.
And what's even funnier is you're not laughing because you know what that looks like in your marriage. Exactly. You've seen it over and over and over again. If you turn towards your spouse when you're ready to engage and talk with her, if you're turned away, if you're halfway out the door, you're not going to text arguments to each other because you just too much you can miss in the nonverbal part. Hold their hand, look them in the eye, be honest. Even if it doesn't make the situation go away, it won't make the situation worse. And that is much, much better.
Yes.
That's the first one, is being congruent. Second one is openness. Openness is a lack of defensiveness. Again, you can see that person, okay, I'm ready to resolve this fight.
Right, exactly. That doesn't work out real well.
Yeah. Or, again, my wife is starting to share something with me and I interrupt her. I jump in there and I want to tell her what my side is. I want to tell her what my thoughts are. I want to tell her what my feelings are. You have to have a posture and an attitude of openness and less defensiveness.
Even when it's not an overtly
aggressive,
yes. Even if it's not that, I can think of times where I've not been open, but I've been sitting with a pillow huddled underneath and just, it's all internal, like I internalize and I'm not open. So it doesn't openness or lack of openness doesn't necessarily mean that you're aggressive and you aren't listening. And it can also be a very quiet, subtle lack of openness.
Yeah. Without openness, it doesn't matter what you're talking about anymore. It really doesn't matter, because if you're not listening, then no resolution is going to happen. There's going to be no communication happening, and you want to have effective communication with each other. So openness is essential, absolutely essential. So the first one is congruent, verbal and nonverbal line up. Second one is openness. Third one is responsibility. Responsibility, so many times in communication, in bad communication, you're pointing the finger. Let me just tell you everything that you've done wrong for the last 10 minutes, and while we're at it, for the last 10 years, because you just need to be reminded of everything you're doing wrong. And I point the finger and I blame her and I blame her and I blame her. And give her enough time, she's going to turn around and what? I'm
going to have a nice big boatload of things to tell you about yourself.
Sounds familiar, right? That never works in a relationship. Instead, I can't make her do anything, but I can change myself. I can take responsibility for the things that I am doing, which are screwing up the communication in our relationship. If I'm being defensive and not very open, if my body language isn't congruent with the words that I'm saying, if I am not paying attention, if I can start paying attention to what do I need to change to make this relationship better, to make the communication better, now we can get somewhere, because I actually can change myself. I can't change her, and she can't change me. despite how much she'd like to.
Interestingly, you will find that when you start taking responsibility, it actually promotes change in your spouse, because then
Huge.
they can become open, they become less defensive, and they actually want to start taking responsibility to it.
Yep.
And when you start to take responsibility, it really makes it easier for the other person to take responsibility as well, which is kind of strange. You wouldn't expect that.
It's a backwards thing, but if
Right.
I want to make my wife be more open and receptive towards me, I have to be more receptive and open.
Right.
I create an invitation for her to change in the ways that I change. It's a guaranteed way to make your marriage better and your communication better.
Yep.
So we have congruent, we have openness, we have responsibility. The last one, the fourth one, is empathy. That's where you actually stop and think for a minute, why in the world is my wife feeling what she's feeling? Not, is she feeling sad? Is she feeling mad? Is she feeling frustrated? Is she feeling confused? Not labeling what she's feeling, but why? Why is she sad? Why is the topic we're talking about, what does it mean to her?
Right.
What are her thoughts and her feelings about that? I'm actually going to stop and I'm going to study her, and I'm going to go, I'm curious why that means that to you. It doesn't mean that to me at all, but it means that to you, obviously. I'm curious as to why. And when you start to ask that why question, now I'm actually starting to wanting to understand her feelings.
Right.
Not just try to make her feelings go away, which is what most guys do. It's actually what a lot of women do for husbands as well. Is I just want you to stop feeling that way. Just tell me what to say, tell me what to do, and we can be done with it, and we can get back to watching Netflix. Right?
Right.
Right.
Well, and the other thing that comes out of when you start finding out the whys of how what's the reason why your spouse is feeling the way they are, it makes it easier for you to get to the point in empathy of, oh, that makes sense. I understand why you feel that way. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you're just going, oh, there's no reason for you to be feeling that way. Stop it. Don't feel that way.
That right there. Stop it. You shouldn't feel that way. That is one of the major toxic breakdowns in communication, and there's a massive lack of empathy. Instead, try to go, I wonder why you're feeling that way. Even if I don't agree,
Right.
that's interesting to me. I'm confused, but I'm intrigued.
Right. And a lot of times for us, Paul won't agree with why I'm feeling what I'm feeling, but he's able to go, oh, that makes sense why you would feel that way if that's what it's causing in you. There's a reason for it, and that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's the question. That's the statement you're trying to get to is, oh, that makes sense to me. And when your spouse understands and knows, oh, you make sense to me. I've taken the time to study and understand. You make sense to me.
That's just like life-giving.
Oh, it's like butter just all over.
Right.
Not in a, sort of, let's have fun tonight sort of butter everywhere. But
it could lead to that if you've got some good communication
good
going
communication
on.
can absolutely lead to butter night. And so you might really enjoy that. Those are the four things. Again, it starts with being congruent, having openness, responsibility, and empathy. Those are the core elements. See what we did there? CORE. Core elements to having effective communication with your husband or your wife. You can start practicing these things starting right now, starting today. But these are like new concepts to you, or you don't even know like how to start beginning to work on those things. You can go to securemarriage.com. We got a lot of free videos there that you can watch. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yes, I was going to say, don't forget,
Yep.
hit the button, subscribe. We like that. Give us, happy stars and thumbs up and a great review. We'd love that.
And you can also put your questions in the comments there, and we
Right.
take those questions and we will make other videos out of it. So you can work on the core elements of effective communication with your husband or your wife starting today. Other than that, I think that's it.
That's it.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.